Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Welcome to the November 5th, 2024 City Council meeting of the City of Windom. Tonight on the consent agenda, that includes the minutes, council minutes from October 15th, October 28th, and October 29th. The last two were special meetings. Community Center, October 14th, HRA, October 9th. Utility Commission met, and the minutes are included for October 23rd. License permit applications, exempt gambling permit, Des Moines Valley Chapter of Minnesota Deer Hunters Association. Also included are the regular bills. Council wish to take action?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion Jenny, seconded by Scott, to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign, and that motion carries. Department heads are all gonna wait for their turn. Personnel, Community Center. Tim is here, has a request.
Tim Snyder, Community Center Director. Before you, we have an action item for some action requested that we're recommending that the City Council approve the hiring of Madeline Oltmans for the position of on-call part-time at the wage of $12.50 per hour. We've had a couple of our on-call kids here in the last probably 2-3 months between college and we got a couple openings, and so we needed to fill another one. As you can see, she'll kind of help out working at events and set up and take down for events as well.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the part-time hiring of Madeline Oltmans?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion Jim, seconded by Dennis, to approve the hiring of the part-time on-call. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign, and that motion carries. Thank you, Tim. City office, we had a administrative assistant position that was advertised internally and externally. Steve, you gonna take that one?
Yeah, Donna's up at the election, so Emily Prokash from our office. Emily was with us for about 15 years as an administrative assistant. You see her probably when you come in, pay your utility bills. She accepted a job in another business in town, and so Donna advertised, and they interviewed several candidates, and they're recommending to hire Amy Kelly. Amy's currently a para out at the school, and the request is that she'd start at step 1 of the administrative pay grade with step 2 on the scale after 6-month performance period. So,
Any questions for Steve on that hiring? Councilor?
What kind of a start date does she have?
next week on Tuesday. Emily was done on Friday, so this week we will be out, but Ms. Kelly could start on the 12th. The 11th is a holiday, so she's starting the 12th.
Any other questions? Council wish to take action?
I'll make the motion to hire Amy Kelly.
I'll second it.
Motion by Jim, second by Scott, to approve the hiring of Amy Kelly for the position discussed. Okay, no further questions. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. The 2025 Supervisor Health Insurance Contribution. This was discussed by the Personnel Committee, and Marv is going to take this one.
So to address that increased health insurance, the personnel committee met and is recommending that the insurance increase be split 75 city, 25 employee, which has been customary for quite some time. But the HSA and the VIVA contribution then would be increased to $22.50 for single coverage and $4,000 for family coverage. So that's a recommendation, and I would make that a motion.
Is there a second?
I would second.
Okay, we've had a motion by Marv, seconded by Jenny. Any discussions or questions from council members? And I seen in the packet, you have the total cost of the two different funds there, okay? Okay. Hearing no other questions, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you. Contractor payment. Windom Municipal Airport Project, Forner Asphalt Sealers LLC. This is payment number 1 in the amount of $95,856.82. Steve, you want to touch base on your airport project?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yep, this is for crack filling and joint repair out at the airport. They did pretty much the middle section of the runway. The contractors did run into a little bit of unforeseen work. They did it, but they thought there was probably I'm going to get this wrong. So when you cut a joint in concrete, there's a rod that lays down in the middle of that joint, and then the sealant goes on top of that. There was no rod placed in there, in joint rod, and so the sealant was in there, so the sealant went all the way down into the concrete, and they had to pry and chip all that out so they could put the new stuff in. So it was kind of interesting they found that, but that did get done. This is also a final. They got the project completed. The engineers have signed off and recommended approval of the project, but this will be the only pay request for that one. The cost share, I believe, was 90% FAA and 10% us. Yeah. I can't remember if the state had dollars in this one or not, but worst case, it was 90-10.
Okay, anything to follow that up? Okay, there'd be a motion in order for that payment number 1, which is considered the final payment.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to accept the payment for the sealer for asphalt farmer.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to approve that payment request number 1 and final was made by Scott and seconded by Jim. Okay, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, we have a generation plant. I think we're gonna have a visitor up here at the table. Jason, are you going to, well, after you introduce yourself, I'll ask a question.
Jason Skor, Electric Utility Manager.
And my question is, are you gonna repeat some of the items you talked about at the budget meeting? I'd appreciate that.
Sure can.
Thank you. That'll get the public caught up. So go ahead.
All right, so we'll just start with this payment. This is, we'll have 2 more payments left after this payment. We did retain $25,000 out of the original submitted pay app from Wilcon, as we felt there were some things that still needed to be done before they had met substantial completion. So we had withheld substantial completion of the project, which was supposed to be October 4th. Those problems were, we had VFDs on the intake and exhaust fans weren't working properly at that time, so we were not able to run generation at full capacity, which substantial completion's definition is to be able to run the generation plant at full capacity. We didn't need paint necessarily or any of that stuff, but so that wasn't completed. It has since met substantial completion on October 31st. VFDs and fans were ran for 25 minutes without tripping out on any overloads or losing communication with the control device. So before we were having problems with losing communication within a few minutes of running and so forth. So that problem has been resolved. So next commission meeting will bring documentation to the utility commission, and then they can sign off on that, and then ultimately I believe it will come to the council at the first meeting to sign off on substantial completion. So and I can touch on the actual generators themselves. So we did run one generator for an hour at emergency rating, which is 3.1. So they can run at that for a limited amount of hours. They're 24/7, 365. Rating is 2850. So you can basically run them at that until you need to stop and change oil. So engine 6, as we are calling it, has ran and was basically certified, if you want to call it that. Engine number 5 was having some fuel sensor pump. Weren't still not exactly 100% sure, but Ziegler's been working on it. That fuel pressure system, the fuel pressure in that system is about 33,000 psi, so it's awfully high, and they're not quite getting to that max fuel pressure, so we're not getting full power out of that unit yet. They've replaced the fuel rail, the fuel sensor. They're waiting for permission to replace the fuel pump, but that has to come from the CAT factory, as it's a very expensive pump, and they want to make sure that all steps prior to doing that have been taken and documented. So we're hoping to get there next week with that one. But
Any technical questions from the council? A lot of information there, but we trust you guys and your oversight, so you know a lot more than this council does, I would dare to say. So with that, council need to take action on this pay request.
I would make the motion to approve payment number 12 to Wilcon Construction for $194,122.24.
I'll second it.
Motion by Marv, seconded by Dennis to approve payment number 12 to Wilcon Construction. Any other questions or explanation from Jason? Hearing none, all in favor? Go ahead.
Do you
Jim.
have any idea when they'll have it up and running properly?
it was supposed to be running by the end of this week, so fingers crossed, because that's when our engineer can make it work in his schedule. Otherwise, we'll be out a little ways. But Ziegler has some contract language that they had 60 days from October 4th to get these things online before they would incur possible expenses. So I'm sure it's on their priority list.
There's no need for a time extension then at this point with that other 60 days? Okay,
No, they haven't asked for anything, so.
okay.
If they have to change the pump, how long will it take to get and replace it, do you know, or even a guess?
They can replace it in a day. And most of the other parts they're getting out of the Illinois factory. So a couple days, they next day deliver it. So it's a day to Mankato to their shop and a day down to Windom, so it's pretty fast. It takes longer for them to get through the paperwork, I think, than it does to get things delivered.
Any further questions? Okay, we're gonna call for the vote on this. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And I don't hear any, so that carries. Thank you. New business. Any new business? One item is set the date for the special city council meeting. This will be a canvassing board meeting. Shouldn't take very long.
So,
Go ahead.
yep, it's just, canvas board is the council has, as the governing body has to certify the election results for its races. So, that information will come from the county and then that ballot information, and then you'll have a resolution to basically approve that as the canvas board. So, the section of statute was included in the packet, and you as a council have between 3 and 10 days following the election to do the canvas board. And so 3 days would put us at Friday, and then Monday the 11th is a holiday, that's Veterans Day. So I was kind of looking at that 12th or 13th maybe as one of the better 2 days, assuming you didn't want to meet on a Friday again, and I think the mayor's tied up on the 14th, so. That's, okay, so you do canvas board November 12th. What time do you want to do it?
When's council, do you have any preference? I'm okay. Pretty much everything. Do you want to do it earlier in the day? Do it at 5 o'clock or something like that?
5. Yeah,
5?
Get you
5? Everybody good at 5?
5 p.m.
Do you need a motion for that? Steve?
Yeah, yes, please.
Is there a motion from a council member?
I'll make the motion to approve our special city council meeting for the canvassing board for November 12th, Tuesday at 5 p.m.
I'll second it.
Motion by Jenny, second by Scott, to approve the November 12th at 5 p.m. canvassing board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Any old business? Council comments? Jenny?
Well, it was good to see that turnout for voting today, and a lot of new people that have never voted before. Did you say Jenny? Well, I beat you to it. I'm in a hurry too.
Well, thank you, Jim. I got you guys confused sometimes. Jenny, yeah, and Jenny.
That's all right. That's okay, Jim. I just want to thank all the department heads that came to our special budget meetings the last few days that we had. I know they got to be kind of long nights for everyone when they put in a shift all day long, but it was good to hear. Good to hear what their priorities were, and hopefully we tried to work within that budget that we were given and the levy that we were given to be under. And so hopefully we did the best we could, and department heads are okay with that. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much all I have.
Scott, you volunteer to go next?
Sure. Again, like Jenny said, I want to thank the department heads for what they do and all the people that work for the city of Windom to make Windom what it is today, and the voters that came out to all the polls, and the candidates that are running for elections. I just want to say thanks for everybody for running a smooth election and a decent election. We didn't have no name calling or nothing like that they have on the media. Oof. But no, I just want to say thanks, and check on your neighbors, because now it's getting cold out and stuff. Just make sure everything's going smooth, and just have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Did I hear an oofta in there? Yeah. Okay. Marv? Dennis? Steve?
Just reiterate what Scott said. Thanks to all the candidates for all the time you all put in, and thanks to all the election judges for the very long day that they have all put in. I know they were up there before 7 this morning, and they were gonna be there till well past the polls closed, so thanks to all those folks putting in that time.
I'll ditto what everybody else said. Thanks to our public, and good luck to all the candidates. Well-run throughout our city and our county. Proud of that for this area. So with that, I think we're done tonight. We're going to adjourn by unanimous consent. Thank you all.